If you are experiencing foundation issues, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
Sylacauga Police Chief Kelley Johnson joins us this morning. Chief, good morning to you.
Morning, Jimmy.
Good to have you with us today. And it's a new world for us, including the Sylacauga Police Department.
Yes, it is.
Talk a little bit about how the police department is adjusting to this coronavirus, COVID-19.
All right. Yeah, we're doing the same thing that most of your public safety is doing. I can't speak for all of them, but we're cutting back a lot of the unnecessary contacts that we usually make, maybe with traffic stops, other self-initiated warrant service, that type of stuff, to try to keep us from going into homes and going and stopping and a lot of just the unnecessary contact with people that could be infected.
What will now, with this COVID-19 outbreak, what would now be an example of constituting a traffic stop?
Well, we'll still do what we need to do. If someone's, of course, traveling at a very high rate of speed, or before yesterday, it would have been dealing with people in school zones. With the schools out, we don't do that right now, but if it's something that we have to do, then we're going to do it. Just like before. The officer will have more discretion than normal.
When a 911 call comes and is routed to the Sylacauga Police Department, if it's at a residence, walk us through how that would work.
Okay. It's according to the call. If it's a call of violence, meaning a domestic violence call, or someone's call that's injured in an assault, or there's been some type of violent crime, then we're going to respond just as we always do. We're going to send enough manpower to handle the scene itself, to handle the people that are there, and then, but on minor calls, whether it be a phone harassment or harassment or a burglary, maybe where there's not an ongoing threat, we're going to send a minimum number of people, whether that's just one officer that'll handle it him or herself, or we may send a backup officer that'll hang out outside just in case. We usually have 2 people go on most every call, but that second person, rather than going inside or dealing with the public, with that the family that's at that residence or wherever the call may be, he or she's going to hang back. We don't want, if there's a chance of one of our officers coming in contact with someone that's infected, we don't want it to spread from officer to officer, because we have a limited number of officers here, and everybody's ready to those that are out of uniform, ready to put the uniform back on and do what they have to do to make sure our citizens are safe and to handle the complaints that we have in the city. But we want to keep the contact at a minimum.
There was conversation a week or so ago that had come across my desk that the Sylacauga Police Department had the COVID-19 test kits. That's not accurate, is it?
No, that's not accurate. The Sylacauga Police Department we won't be testing people for COVID-19. No.
When a call comes to a home, you do as much as you possibly can to get the person who's calling or whomever you're looking at to come outside.
That's one of the things that we'll be changing up, more outside interaction rather than being enclosed in the home or the apartment or whatever. We'll have them come outside, if it's safe and if it's weather permitting.
COVID-19 is something that none of us have ever seen, hope we'll never see again, but the criminal element is still at work.
That's correct. Yeah, we're still going strong, and we joke around, but it's true. We have job security.
We've had numerous reports of big box stores who've had people to come in and just almost rape the store as far as getting supplies and stuff like that. Has that calmed down some, you think?
Well, I think it's calmed down because they don't have the stock to sell now. A lot of Walmart shelves are still bare. They've started, our 24-hour Walmart has started closing at 11 so that they can restock shelves. They open back up at 6. But we're keeping our officers there if there's large crowds, keeping them in the parking lots as much as possible and doing walkthroughs to just keep the peace inside the store.
Sylacauga Police Chief Kelley Johnson, our guest for a few more minutes this morning. Speak to the audience this morning as to how they should handle non-emergency calls. I mean, all of us think our call is an emergency, but there's some that are and some are not.
Yeah, we will kind of determine if it's an emergency or a non-emergency because, like you said, everybody's call. If they have to call the police, it's an emergency to them, and we understand that. But what may happen here for the next little while is when you call our dispatchers, we hope get a good phone number. If it's deemed not an emergency, meaning just a call that the officer would come out and just simply do a report for phone harassment or criminal trespass if the subject has already left the scene. We may take the report over the phone. You may be getting a call back from an officer that handles a report if a report is necessary. If it's not necessary, the officer will talk to you and kind of give you some tips on what you need to do and what you can do, what your options are. So everybody is changing up to try to keep this virus from spreading, and the changes that we're making at the Sylacauga Police Department is just kind of limited contact. We want to limit our contact just like your restaurants are limiting contact. I know we've got several that haven't opened. They're not opening their doors. They're working the drive-through, but they're not opening the door.
Sylacauga City Hall is effectively closed. No traffic into City Hall. What does that mean for the police department? People are always trying to interact with the police. How is that working?
Yes, sir. Well, we're still there. Everyone's still in their offices. They're handling things by phone. Mm-hmm. Any of the numbers that you need, if you call our number, we're going to help you however we can. We have 2 emergency phones that are outside the police department. They're in the yellow boxes. One's downstairs where our employees park, and one's upstairs next to the stairs that lead down into the basement. And our dispatcher monitors those 24/7. So if anybody comes and needs help at the police department, just pick up the yellow phone and let the dispatcher know that you need us and let us know that you're upstairs or you're downstairs. Mm-hmm. We'll come out.
Yeah. Talk about a little bit before we go this morning, the cameras that you guys, I think, are getting. How many of these are you getting?
We're ordering 16 new body cameras to replace the old system that we had. The old system was outdated and
long time ago.
yeah, they've lasted a lot longer than they were supposed to have. Luckily, we were able to get a good bit of use out of them. But it's a new camera system. It's more tech friendly. We don't, our sergeants now have to manually download the cameras, and these will download themselves once they put back in the cradle. It's just the body camera system is as much for our officers' protection from complaints and to make sure that they do the right thing than it is for gathering evidence. Mm-hmm. So we're glad to have those. And
finally this morning, all the organizations, all the hospitals, medical facilities, municipal organizations, SAFE, we're all trying to work together.
We are.
Go in the same direction. And you get interaction with these people and these organizations nearly every day because, things change from hour to hour.
They do. We had a meeting just the other day with the mayor and the council and leaders from the community meeting in the hospital. SAFE was there, several members of the media, and we just talked about what our roles would be and things that we're going to be doing. I think maybe the senior center is rather than having the seniors come in, they're delivering the meals, and we're willing to help with that. If we need to deliver meals, the police department will be glad to do that with them. We're all helping each other out to get us through this crazy time.
Yeah, and a lot of seniors live in our community.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're watching this morning and you're a senior and you get in a little bit of trouble, you call the police department. And they'll be glad to help you just as they've always done. Chief, I thank you for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
And Sylacauga Police Chief Kelley Johnson, our guest this morning, as we continue on Daybreak right after this.